As the armed might of free men plunged like a flaming sword into the heart of tyranny, as the day of total victory drew near, 6 million American farmers looked to the future. The same 6 million farmers who lifted food out of the land to win the war and who continue to produce the food the world needs as it travels the road to peace. Farmers want a world at peace that will keep them busy growing food and fiber and timber on the land. More than that, a world that pays off in stable, honest prices. Sounds like a pretty big order, doesn't it? American farmers are used to big orders. They got one special delivery airmail on Sunday, December 7th, 1941. A pretty big order. America woke to fight. And her soil must fight. What would we need? More cereals, more grain, more meat? How much? And how could farmers produce it without repeating the mistakes of World War I, when we plowed up the grasslands and pulled the life out of many acres of farmland, paying ourselves off with dust storms, erosion, worn-out land? It was too big a question for any one farmer, or even farmers in any one state. The answer must come from here, and it did come. These boys got top priority, tons of food for the armed forces, for civilians at home, for Lend-Lease, a lifeline of food that covered thousands of miles and spoke 100 different languages, but said one thing: we'll get food to you. That wasn't all. Hunger would rage like a flooded river in the towns the enemy left behind him in his flight. Tons of food for relief and rehabilitation. Washington counted up the tonnage for a blueprint of farm production, and the farmers turned it into a reality. Wheat spreading like an ocean across the land, corn lifting its broad leaves to the sun, dairy products rolling in from east and west, meat from the pastures and ranges of the nation, cotton in the southern states, flax in the north-central states, lumber charging down from the forests, fruits and vegetables from farms in every part of the country. All of these and many more became national crop and livestock goals, with every farmer in every state on tap and needed for the job. Yes, a blueprint for production. In goal meetings like this one, the government asked the states and counties asked the farmers. Farmers talked it over, figured it out for their own land, and went to work. It wasn't easy. Industry and Army induction sliced farm manpower to the bone. But everyone pitched in. The women, the kids, and city folks came out to help, or they took a little of the farm to town in victory gardens. And these helped plenty. Home canning in the city and on the farm. Short on help, short on machinery, but farmers patched it up and made it work. The food rolled in, a gigantic tribute to American farmers who produced a third again as much as was produced before the war. How was it accomplished? First of all, farmers had learned through bitter experience that they must take care of the land. What is taken from the soil must be put back into the soil. The land must last forever. Second, farmers had improved seed. Fine strains developed through years of scientific research, hybrid corn throughout the corn belt, rust-resistant varieties of wheat and oats spread across the grain belt. There were risks, yes. There were increased dangers from disease. Pastures were often overcrowded. There was a shortage of insecticides to combat armies like these. When bad weather laid low a crop, there wasn't much to do but pray, and then salvage as much as possible. Yet, farmers produced. And they got help. The Stiegel bill guaranteed prices at 90% of parity for war-needed crops. They were encouraged to try new crops, needed because foreign supplies were cut off. The government supplied support prices, crop loans, dairy feed payments. And farmers delivered the goods because they knew where their own particular jobs fitted into the pattern for victory. But that's only half the story. The world of iron-jawed Il Duce was turned upside down. Berchtesgaden and Berlin no longer shielded the madman who dreamed of world domination. And impolite Americans had the audacity to laugh at this sacred son of heaven. What does victory mean to the American farmer? What about post-war markets? Will farm prices topple when wartime demands are cut? The number one question for both farmer and laborer: can we avoid another depression? Depressions don't stop at city boundary lines. They knock the pins out from under both the city dweller and the farmer. Can America avoid another depression? The answer will be yes, if Americans work together against it instead of drifting into it. The job of industry in the post-war world is to supply steady employment, keep up a stable payment of wages. But industry alone cannot assure prosperity. Industry and farming are dependent upon each other, must support each other. This means that farmers must plan their production carefully, grow the top quality products the market demands. And these people, 130 million Americans, represent their major market. To know what products they want, a farmer will employ the same methods he used during the war years. Plenty of discussion with other farmers, plenty of cooperation and planning, with industry backing up farmers and farmers supporting industry. Farmers help support a stable industry when they buy the products industry turns out. Electrical equipment means a better life for farm families, means more and better products that will hold their own in the highly competitive post-war markets. Millions of farm machines are needed to replace those worn out in the war years. Turning them out means more jobs for industry. America needs prosperous, growing farm communities, and farmers want better homes, better sanitation, better equipment, better schools, churches, roads, and better health facilities. There is need for enough new farm buildings to provide millions of man-hours of construction and billions of dollars in material and labor. Farmers will pay for these things with their savings and matured war bonds. Another assignment for farmers is soil and water conservation. 165 million acres need contour cultivation. 400 million acres of grazing land need to be relieved of overcrowding, and 265 million acres need to be returned to grassland. 90 million acres of farmland need protection through terracing. 40 million acres need drainage. Legumes in rotation, liming, fertilizing, and manuring are needed to maintain and improve the soil. 3/4 of our timberland has been cut over. The rest produces only a scant half of what it should. Now is the time to rebuild and restore our forests. Now is the time to replace bad practices with good. Now is the time to lay the groundwork for the production of more timber, more forest industries, more jobs. Yes, soil and water conservation, a major assignment for American farmers in the post-war world. In addition to markets supplied by a stable industry, there will be new markets for farm products. Here, a program of school lunches and distribution of food to low-income groups, programs designed to boost our national health and well-being. Competition for foreign markets will be keen in the post-war years. Farmers who produce the highest quality at the lowest cost will ship most to foreign ports, and we'll need foreign outlets to help consume our increased farm production. Industry will probably have new uses for farm products in the manufacture of synthetics, plastics, alcohol, and other things. Farmers must keep informed about the demand. America's farmers face the future realistically. They have produced in abundance for war. With the cooperation of industry, science, government, and the people in a prosperous America, they can and will produce in abundance for peace.